We are living in an era of Lorcana Mania, so of course I had to call up every local game store within a 50-mile radius of my home. I live in the American West, so anything within 50 miles is considered local. Of course I had to continue calling them until I found someone who had some starter decks in stock that miraculously hadn't been snapped up in a pre-order. Okay, I just pulled in. I'm so nervous. I'm gonna go in and we're gonna see what they've got. Of course I had to go buy a full set of starter decks. Okay guys, I got it. Just incredible. I can't believe that I am seeing them in person. It is real Lorcana stuff. I can touch it. Wild. Bring them home, order some food, unwrap all of them, and enter the Lorcana dimension. And after hours of play and dozens of games, I can say with a surety that Lorcana is fine. It's pretty good. It's not great. It's good. It's adequate comes to mind. Let's get into it. In a game of Lorcana, you become an Illumineer, which is a person obsessed with gathering lore, which is the juice that you use to make stories. To win at being an Illumineer, you'll need to seize the udders of the universe and squeeze from them as much lore juice as you possibly can before your opponent can do the same thing. Because the first person to get 20 lore juice will be crowned the winner. But there's a catch to all of this. As an Illumineer, you can't handle lore on your own. Instead, you'll have to use magic ink to summon glimmers, which you can use to gather lore on your behalf. They're kind of your milking crew. Now, glimmers look like Disney characters, they talk like Disney characters, they might even smell like Disney characters, but they're not Disney characters, you see. That's very important because glimmers are also your personal army. You can sick them on other players' glimmers and they can fight each other and kill each other. Except they don't kill each other, they banish each other because that isn't violent. So when Sven picks a fight with Kristoff and utterly obliterates him, it's okay because that's not the real Kristoff and that's not the real Sven. So this game is ostensibly about Disney characters, but it's actually about Disney characters that aren't really Disney characters killing but not really killing each other for no discernible reason until somebody wins. And what that means for Illumineers or for the future of Disney is unclear. But hey, Magic the Gathering has been forcing Planeswalkers to throw creatures at each other for reasons for the last 30 years. So it's okay if your trading card game has some funky lore. In fact, if it were simple, then everybody would know it. And that means you wouldn't have a coterie of gatekeepers in your community available to cudgel people who aren't familiar with the finer details of the game's lore. And that's a time-honored tradition in trading card game communities. So that is what the game is. Well, how do you play it? On your turn, you can transform one of the cards in your hand into ink. And you'll know which cards are able to be transformed into ink by the gold wreath that you'll see in the top left corner. You can then spend any ink that you have in your inkwell to summon glimmers or play actions or bring items into the battlefield. You can also declare attacks with your glimmers, or you can have them go fetch lore points for you. The instant a player scores their 20th lore point, the game is over and that player is crowned the winner. And that's it. The lore is pretty abstract, but the game itself is simple. And that is simultaneously awesome and not awesome. It makes the game easy to learn, but the simple rules have a reductive effect when it comes to theme. Something like Magic the Gathering is complicated, but the Byzantine rules and the dictionary of keywords allow designers to create cards that feel like living, breathing characters. When I play Sorin Markov, my opponent and I feel like an ancient, powerful vampire has entered the battlefield because of a perfect synthesis of art and mechanics. He can drain people's life just like a vampire. He can mind control people just like, I don't know, vampires can, I guess. Lorcana trades this kind of personality for ease of access. When you play a character, it is the art rather than the mechanical function of the card that evokes the presence that character brings to their film. The game isn't entirely devoid of character. I mean, this version of Ariel, for example, can't sing songs, which is a neat nod to the movie, but such references, while fun, appear only in a small selection of cards, and the vast majority are either nondescript or have weird keywords that don't fit the characters. Why is Pongo evasive? Why is Timon a healer? Why does this version of Mickey Mouse do literally nothing? Why on earth does Rafiki have Rush? Okay, I can see that. But to be fair, the word Rush doesn't bring Rafiki to mind so much as it brings this. But maybe I'm just old. The lean rule set makes the game approachable while also diminishing its capacity to fully articulate the characters it attempts to represent. Lorcana ticks all of the trading card game boxes. It pits people against each other, it has spells and minions, and even makes players turn cards sideways for resources. None of these TCG trappings align with the whimsical Disney art. In some cases, it works, most consistently with villain cards actually, but forcing Minnie Mouse, even a fake Minnie Mouse who's really just a glimmer, to punch Stitch in the face feels deeply perverse. The Disney theme sits on top of this design like that blob of sunscreen on your dad's nose that shows up every vacation that's never rubbed in all the way. To put it less nicely, it feels like Ravensburger designed a user-friendly collectible card game that they could slap Disney branding on, rather than build a card game from the ground up with the purpose of capturing the spirit of Disney films. To push this boat even further into mean territory, it feels as if Ravensburger had an AI play 10,000 games each of Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, the World of Warcraft trading card game, Hearthstone, and maybe 1,000 games of Yu-Gi-Oh! Then asked it to design a trading card game, took that design, sprinkled a tiny bit of spice onto it, and plastered Disney art all over it. And then printed up 2 booster packs to send to every Walmart in the United States of America. And you know what? It's fine. It's okay. It's not terrible. In fact, if you are a Disney fan and you've never played a trading card game before, you've never thought of yourself as a TCG collector, I'd recommend going and picking up a couple of starter decks and giving this a shot. See what you think. Don't pay more than MSRP for it. They're not worth it. If you do, however, be advised that this game is specifically designed to make you want to spend tons of money on it. Bringing those starter decks into your home is roughly the equivalent of bringing that MLM ambassador friend over for dinner. They provide a passable experience on their own, but ultimately they are testers for the goodies that Lorcana purportedly has in store for you. Of course, you don't have to spend hundreds of dollars to collect all of the cards available, even if the game really makes you want to. I just want to make it clear what's inside of this Trojan horse before you throw open the gates of your life and allow it in. If you are a grizzled, jaded veteran of 1,000 TCGs, however, you will probably find Lorcana derivative and, unfortunately, a bit exploitative, even for a game in this genre. Let's be honest, every card game of this type is at least a little bit predatory. There are 2 reasons for that: chase cards and imbalance. But before I jump into that, I want to make it absolutely clear that I am not pointing these 2 things out as flaws unique to Lorcana. They are par for the course in the trading card game world. I only bring it up because currently Lorcana suffers from extreme cases of both of those things, which makes it rather hostile to people who really want to dig into it and make it their hobby. I'll go through a couple of numbers to break down some values to try and show you what I mean. A standard Lorcana booster pack consists of 12 randomized cards and retails for $5.99, though chances are your LGS will sell them at a minimum of $6.99 because profit margins on the $5.99 price tag are borderline untenable, according to what my sources tell me. Of those cards, 6 will be common, 3 will be uncommon, and 2 will be rare or better, according to the Lorcana website. We'll compare that to a standard draft booster for Magic the Gathering, since that's the principal property Lorcana clearly wants to compete with. One booster, which retails at $3.98 on TCG Player, remember these are standard draft MTG packs, no Commander Masters here, will have 15 cards, with 1 of those being a land, 9 being commons, 3 to 4 coming in at uncommon, and 1 coming in at rare or better, with 1 borderless card. Crunching the numbers, MTG wins pretty easily. You're getting 3 extra cards in your pack, 2 really since the others land, and you're paying less up front. Lorcana seems to have the upper hand, though, when it comes to booster composition. They're charging you $1 more, but they're promising double the rares. This apparent advantage is thoroughly offset, however, by the fact that Lorcana added a 5th rarity to their game. Lorcana cards come in common, uncommon, rare, super rare, and legendary. So yes, you are getting 2 rares or better in a Lorcana booster pack, but those rares are devalued by the presence of an additional rarity rank above them. And of course, the super rares are being circulated in fewer numbers than the rares, with the more limited circulation being reserved for legendary cards. Fundamentally, you are paying more money for about the same chances of getting something useful, with the drawback of getting fewer cards. Which would be okay. You know, maybe you're not cracking something useful every pack, but again, standard around these parts. If the top performing decks in Lorcana didn't all include 4 copies of at least 3 legendaries or more, with most of those legendaries being the exact same across different decks. And this is where imbalance rears its ugly head. Not all legendaries in Lorcana are created alike. You have the same problem in Magic the Gathering with trash rares and useful rares with the legendaries in Lorcana, but adding that 5th rarity to the mix makes all of this worse, because the odds of cracking a legendary at all in a randomized booster pack are already small, but cracking a useful legendary, they're even smaller. That, combined with the fact that commons, uncommons, and rares are already practically worthless on the secondary market, means that booster packs are a veritable black hole for you to shovel money into. Buying up singles isn't cheaper by much because everybody's looking for the same 6 cards. The meta is extremely narrow and the price of entry into the top echelons of play is extraordinarily high, which already isn't ideal, but also means that shelling out hundreds of dollars to kit your deck out with Bell, Strange But Special, and Maleficent admits you into this bizarre dystopian world of mirror matches. Spend a few weeks in that Sisyphean grind, and I doubt you'll be able to watch Beauty and the Beast or Hercules for a long, long time, let alone find fulfillment in the game you've invested hundreds of dollars in. Most of that will probably change if Lorcana sticks around. No doubt Ryan Miller and his team are concocting cards to challenge the current meta as you're listening to this. But for now, the story of Lorcana is one of humdrum gameplay and prices driven maddeningly high by deliberately crafted scarcity. And if you're listening to me say all this and you still want to go all in on it right now, without waiting for the secondary market to calm down or the meta maybe to diversify a little bit, that is your prerogative. I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing right now. And I've expressed a lot of big emotions in this review, but that is because I do see potential in this game. And I hope one day it realizes that potential and goes from Disney magic to true Disney magic. And that brings us to the end of our review of Disney Lorcana. I hope it was insightful, helpful for you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.